Hey everyone, as you can see here, this is a Harbor Freight media blaster. I've had a couple of people ask me a few questions about it, so I thought I'd go over the modifications I have done to it. As you know, there's a million videos on YouTube about this. So what I did is I kind of looked through all those, did the modifications that I thought would be the best to do, and I'm going to go over those and give you pros and cons of what I think about it. Okay, one of the modifications I think are the best are installing some lights. As you know, the lights that come with it are not very good. So what I did is at first I installed this light up here. You can see it up in the corner. It's a floodlight. The idea was a couple things. One, it's really bright. I got the brightest bulb I could get. It's not LED. I wanted it to produce some heat. So the heat wise keeps moisture out. I haven't had any problem with moisture. Well, what I found, I do a lot of motorcycle parts. So with this light up here, the problem with that is like this rim, for example, if you stick something up to the right side, it's going to be dark. So I ended up installing another light. I'm sorry about the glass, it's all dirty, need to clean that. So with two lights in there, two fog lights, it gives me plenty of light. It's well worth doing that for modification. So all I did, here's one of what I did, is I just drill a hole, go to Harbor Freight, buy one of those drill bits that size up, go through the metal, and I just installed it, the light like that, and got the wire going through, nothing fancy. Over on this side, I did the same thing, just the only difference is I have the light switch. I also installed a couple outlets here and the cord right here that just goes to my outlet. So basically I just plug it in and now these are live. If I had to do it again, I don't really use these a whole lot. So if your shop, if you find that you use them, I thought I would use them, but I don't. Oh, let's see here. This, I don't use the film anymore. I did for the longest time, but it became an issue. I went to Lowe's. They come in sheets of glass, the exact width of this. So I ended up having them cut it down to the side. I think I got 3 sets of glasses out of one big sheet of glass. I forget how much it was. It was not expensive at all. This is definitely an upgrade you want to do. This makes a huge difference. Right now it's dirty. You can see all the dirt from on the other side. But this has been on here without me cleaning it or doing anything for a very long time. It's well worth it. Also, there's some people that have quick releases for this. I was going to do that upgrade, but I didn't. I just have the screws in here. I have them upside down to make it easier. It's really not that hard to replace this. You don't replace the glass very often. So I just kept the standard equipment, but I do have it upside down to make it a little easier. All the hardware I turned upside down, so all the nuts are on the outside. The idea of that, the theory behind that, let me see if I can get a good spot. There you go. The idea of it is so the sand doesn't build up on the nuts and all the other stuff. So does it work? Does it make a difference? I don't know. In theory, it seems like it does. What's another upgrade? Okay, so what I did as far as the shop vac, I have the shop vac sucking out through the back, not through the side here. So this is the side where the inlet air goes in. And what you'll see, hold on. So what you'll see is I made this little draft or cover, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's to cover the hole so my media blast doesn't escape from that area. And in theory, what everyone says is it creates a little downdraft. What I did is I went to went to Lowe's and got some ductwork. You can see it's just regular ductwork. My idea was try to make this modification as cheap as I could, but have it work. So I got this ductwork, cut it in half. You can see over here it's flat, on the other side it's flat. I bent it up here. Ends up working. So basically I just cut it in half and stretched it out. Put some sealant all around it. It actually works really well. If I had to do it any different, maybe I would make it longer. The only reason I say that is sometimes when I'm done and you put your hand on here, you might feel a little bit of grit from the glass beads, but it's not anything major. It's just very, very little. So that's the only thing I would think. The lights, I don't think I would do anything different. I think they're in a good spot. Maybe something different is maybe stick one here to come straight down, but the problem with that is I was afraid when I do motorcycle rims, it would take up the space. So the hose here I have not modified. This is going to be changed out soon. It's starting to get pretty weak and thin. The suction, oh, there's a light there. So let's go inside here. This hose is the original. I haven't changed it. I need to. It's getting kind of thin. It's collapsing. So as you play around with it, you'll figure it out. The gun I have not changed. I don't do a lot of commercial stuff. It's just my own personal use. Are there better guns out there? Yes. Does this one work? Yes. So I just stick with it. One thing I did do, and I highly recommend, is install a little air gun. And what I did is I just put a T-fitting here, right there, right like that. It's just plastic. This hose goes to the gun, and then this hose goes to the air gun. This will give you somewhat of an issue if you can come up with a better idea. I did some safety wire. This will pop off once you do high pressure with the compressed air. I tend to blast with lower pressure, so it doesn't give me too much of an issue anymore. I did at first. The air gun, the reason this is good is you can blow all your media off the parts and off around all the edges, because when you open up your door, it's going to all drop down. So for example, like this, I didn't blow it off one time and then it drops down when you open the door. Let's see here. Another thing, you can see there's holes here. So I bought some of this aluminum tape and I just taped the door. Does it help? I'm not sure. Does it hurt? Definitely doesn't hurt. Also, I use the aluminum tape around all the way around where the top meets the bottom. I did that. I think that helps. It tends to be sticking pretty good. The only part is I do have a problem where it's coming up, where I had some oil spilled in there. Long story short. Let's see here. I have this magnet cup that I got that comes in handy. So like I was saying, here is where the air draft comes in, and then all the extra media blast that's floating in the air, it'll get sucked up through here. The light stuff, obviously the heavy stuff falls back down. You can see down in there. Falls back down, and this, it sucks up through here, but what you gotta do is see if I can get to it. Up top, there's also a hole. So I ended up taking, I had a plastic bin top. I just cut it. It's just a piece of plastic up here, and I put some sealant around it to seal this off. The idea is you want to create enough negative pressure in here using your shop vac that's actually going to suck it through here. So we'll continue on with that. So what I did is in the back, I ended up going to Lowe's and just getting a right angle attachment that actually fits inside the coupler that goes into the blaster. So it's a tight seal. Got the piece of cardboard there. just to keep it tight in there. It's pushed against the wall. I got another piece there, adapter, that I glued in there. This is just a pool hose from Lowe's. Got everything as cheap as I could. That comes over here to my bucket that I made. Anyway, trying to get a side view. But basically what it is it comes in here and it drops all the heavy stuff inside the bucket. And then all the thin stuff goes into my shop vac. The shop vac is just, I think it's a 2-gallon shop vac. It works great. It's cheap enough where once it dies, I'll just buy a new one. I don't have a big fancy shop vac, but it creates enough pressure to do what I need. This thing is really easy to make. I'll take it off so you can show. I haven't opened this in a while. Okay, so there's all the extra. Obviously I need to clean this out. Anyway, there's all the extra. So it comes in here from the shop vac and it just swirls around. All the heavy stuff falls down and then all the light stuff, like I said, goes to the shop vac. That way you're not emptying your shop vac quite often. Everything goes in here, and there's a lot of stuff in there now that I look at it. That's really easy to make. I guess I'll just tell you really fast. The top, you just drill a hole. This is a 90-degree PVC pipe. I have it hooked to the hose, just some duct tape. Same thing here. I have an attachment there. I think that's a 45-degree. Just drill it in there, stick it in there. I have it up somewhat high, and then as the air circulates down in there, it circulates, drops a heavy, and like I said, takes the light dust out there, and it actually blows it out a little bit. You can see all the residue. That's a good indication that that needs to be emptied. One concern I had was my air compressor. I wasn't sure if I had one strong enough. This is what I use. It doesn't run constantly, it runs often, but it has not given me issues. I've done this for hours at a time with no issue. If you have a bigger tank, it would be great. This is all I can work with. But usually what I do a lot of aluminum since I'm restoring this motorcycle, and I usually run it about nothing greater than 60 psi. Unless I'm doing steel, then I'm using the glass beads and I'll bump it up a little bit, but I usually do the steel when my glass beads are shot and they need to be replaced. So this works great at 60. I even go at like 45 psi because I'm not really trying to do major blasting. I'm just trying to resurface some condition, and then I polish it, and long story short. But there's other videos on that. Okay. Another thing I did is the gap from the top to bottom, the mating surface. I couldn't find it because I wanted to give you guys the size, but what I did is this is just weather stripping I got from Home Depot or Lowe's, something like that. I think if I remember right, it's like 1 inch wide. Not sure how thick it is. So the reason I did this, there's a lot of complaints that the media blast would come through the cracks here. I can't really see it over there, but anyway, I did this all the way around. The kit, when you buy it, it comes with some like this. So everywhere there's this two-sided sticky stuff. What I did is I end up using the thicker stuff, the weather stripping, and I put that in between. Also what I did, let's see here. Okay, so the caulk, I end up using what they had. I'd let it sit for probably a week before I used the machine. I don't have any problems with using what they had. It doesn't stick. A lot of people say it sticks to it. No problem with that. Let's see here. A lot of people cut these out. I end up leaving it in there because, you know, I'm going to be putting heavy stuff in here. It's working fine. I left that. I did used to have a screen under all this. That worked great. The glass beads slipped right through, wasn't a problem. Well, then it became a problem every time I had to move the suction. It became more of a hassle, so I took the screen out, and honestly, it doesn't make a difference. everything I blast, I try to clean. As long as you clean the stuff before you stick it in there, you're not going to have a problem. Now, if you're blasting heavy, stuff with heavy debris on it, yes, you're going to have a problem. But so I took the screen out. That was a waste of money. What else did I do? Oh, the shelf here, I turned it upside down just so there's a little lip here, because obviously these things don't fall off. That's I don't know if it was a great idea or not, but it works good. It keeps things from falling off. So go ahead and flip it upside down. The gloves, haven't done anything special with that. I think I had to go buy new screws because the ones that came with it I think were too short, so I had to buy new ones. They're just longer. I think that's it, guys. I don't think I did any other upgrades. Oh, one thing that does make a huge difference, like I said, I do not get any blow-by with this, and one thing that I thought about doing, and I think it really helped, is when you get this all together, and as you seal it, stick a light in here, a big shop light, close it up, turn all the lights off everywhere, and then what you do is you look in the cracks to see if there's any light coming through. When I did that, I found a couple spots that had light shining through, so I ended up recaulking those areas and sealed it up, did the light thing again, and there's no light. So that is like a #1 thing you should do if you want to keep this thing from leaking. Let's see here, the bottom with all my junk, what I would do is go ahead and put a zip tie around this. You can see I have a washer up there because that lever, when you open it, all your media blast will come flying down. I put the washer on there to make it tighter, but then I put a zip tie around it because it's still not very secure. So I put a zip tie just in case, like that hose or something doesn't bump against it. Some people put a vibration thing on here so the media will fall down. I don't have a problem with that. Honestly, I think it's because of my 2 bright lights heat everything up and it just goes down nice and easy. Man, what else is there? Oh, here's some weather strip. I only have it right here in the corner. You can see, because what was happening is when I would shut this door and I would be able to see a little bit of light. See it right there? I would see a little bit of light shining through when I used my light test. So what I did is I just put some of that weather stripping up there. How do you like that crappy looking job? But anyway, it does the job, it does it well, keeps everything tight. Alright, I think that's it, guys. So I hope that answers all the questions I had about this. Like I said, #1 are your lights. That's another one, the #1 modification. The second one is putting actual glass in here. And once it gets all messed up, you just replace it. I mean, it was cheap. And I guess the weather sealant. So I guess that's the top 3 that I'd recommend. If you got any questions, post on the comments. I can try to do a different video. If you found this helpful, please go ahead and subscribe. I've got other random videos on here. Subscribe. Maybe I can do something that'll help you guys save some money. Like I've said in a couple other videos, I try to do everything cheap, but also have good quality. Just like everyone else, you're watching this video because you're doing stuff yourself. Alright guys, we'll see you next time.